Okay, so good evening, my people. We have some two guests today with us for our UFO story directly from the PlayStation. So I hope you can hear them. If you cannot hear them, I'll check the sound later, okay, guys? Okay, so we are on chapter 40 of the book UFO Mystery. And the chapter is called "The Beam of Light Intercepted by a Ray, by a curvilineous fragmented ray." Okay?
The ray is not clear.
No. Ray is resting. Okay, so guys, this story is by Rene Fiore. So okay, so this is a Canadian story. And it happened on the 20th of February. So this is about a story of about 4 young Canadian kids that reported a UFO sighting that they have been witness to in Sook Hills, west of Victoria, BC. Their lines woke up in our memory of another record very well exposed. This report of an incident that he had already sent us on the 7th of March of 1969 after he had read on the 14th number of Spatial Phenomenon, an inquiry made by Joel Mesnard and Mary von Ivano at the Camp of Fire near Shermack on the Vosgos. Okay, so this is the previous story that I've done.
I hear you.
Yep. Sorry, I lose myself on the book. Okay. Observations near Victoria, BC. Bruce Torrey, a student in a teaching establishment and resident in Victoria, he writes, "The observation happened at about 22 hours and 15 minutes at night between the 1st and the 4th of August of 68. I'm mostly sure that it was on a clear, hot, calm night. Meanwhile, it was visible, the object remained static, but then after we studied it for a few instances, we noticed that from the base of this object, 3 or 4 luminous rays came out, and they looked like they were floating above the ground. It means that below these rays the ground wasn't illuminated. These rays of light were on our side in relation to the mountain, and I'm mostly sure that they didn't finish from the other side of the mountain. They finished simply at about 20 feet over the mountain." I'll show you the photo, okay, in the video soon. The color of the light was very difficult to describe. It was a mix of red, violet, even though it was a light that I never saw before. I,
Just let them know I'm going. Yeah, I hear you.
we hear you. I'm not sure
Alright.
the
Yeah,
form of the
brothers.
object,
Yeah, talk to it.
but I think that it was close to the slightly squashed sphere. Okay? Slightly squashed sphere. You couldn't hear any plane, and the fact that the object stayed static for about 5 to 7 minutes, it excluded that it was a satellite. I couldn't say my name, but the other witness changed the address, and I don't know where I can find him to ask for his authorization. I'm not good at drawing, so sorry for my drawing. I hope some of the elements in this card may help. Okay, so now we're gonna go for the next part. It says, the even stranger fragmented curvilineous ray. Okay. This incident happened at about 5 o'clock in the morning on the 1st of January 1970. What was he doing waking up awake at 5 o'clock, Sidvich?
Maybe I had something to do in the morning.
Yep. Maybe he was agricultural
Yeah, there's
and he
small
needs to
tax
feed
there.
the animals. But I'm not sure. Let me check. We're just making questions. Um, okay, there was another witness for this sighting on this morning. At about 19 hours of the same day, a luminous craft um, flown at low altitude the meridional region island of Vancouver. It was seen by various observers that found in Mill Bay. They were living in Mill Bay, but the ones that saw it closer were Jim Drummond, a carpenter of boats, and his wife Diana, that were traveling in so you know, like one of those big trucks which you can transport the containers.
Yeah.
They transformed those big trucks into a floating house. Did you know that yesterday when we were at the fair, there were many floating trucks, house trucks, like
Oh yeah.
underneath the
House
trees?
households. Yeah.
Yeah. And these are the people from the circus who travel on those.
Yeah. They
And
call houseboats.
yeah, because they're cheaper than those. Yes, but it's not a boat. It's a. Oh, actually, it is a boat. Yes, exactly. They transformed a boat into a house, a floating house. Yes, but there are the ones which are made of trucks. You know, those are so funny, man. So they had gone to the mother of Jim to do a New Year's Eve visit. It was the mother of Jim, the first one to notice the object. Oh, so this was on the 1st of January. Yes, this was on New Year's Eve. Yeah, exactly. Maybe they were partying. So Jim, mother of Jim, she noticed the object and she called his attention. Then Jim, he caught his, those little monocle he had on his boat. He observed the object on his little monocle, and he described it on these terms. Okay, guys? It was translated to French, so this is the translation. He says, it had the form of an egg in the vertical position, but the top part and the lower part were not knitted, so they were a bit not focused. Maybe there was some energy around it, okay? It looked like the superior part was transparent, and it had the feeling that it could, you could see on the interior a mix of lights, but it was impossible to discover better details. To help the kid, do you want to make a break, guys? Or you're cool? Okay, we're cool. I can continue. Do you want to make a little break? Okay, let's go then. To help the son bring to help the son and the wife of the son and their kid to the margin, Mr. Drummond had lightened a projector on the atrium of his house. It is impossible to say if this fact had any relation to what happened next, but for any other unknown reason, the object came down about 100 meters and passed between the house, the atrium of the house, and the floating house. It was like the strong light emanating from the margin, the dark margin, had awakened its curiosity. Then something else happened, which was what made a big impression to Jim. He says, precisely on this moment, something else came out of this object that had reduced its velocity, and it was almost static. It was like a ray of light, similar to a fine tube of neon, and it was all fragmented, like it had some lines and traces of the alphabet Morse, of the Morse alphabet. It came like a curve, then it extinguished completely, like a big flash of light, and then it extinguished. Afterwards, my hair was upwards, like with electricity. I couldn't imagine something like this. After this strange, how can we say, after this strange movement, the object went back to the first altitude, and then it disappeared south. On the Canadian UFO Report magazine, there is an artistic composition by Mr. Leslie Footner, and it evokes the moment that that the Drummonds observed this curved apparition, luminous fragmented light. Inspiring on this composition, Joel Mesnard made a drawing with better contrasts, and we reproduced it. Okay guys, I'm gonna give you the photo now, okay? The image. Okay, so this is the floating boat that it's used to bring other boats, to drag another boats. It's a drag boat. And then this is the object, okay guys? So it's kind of an egg with the lower part being colored and the top part being transparent, and then it came down and it threw this fragmented beam of light, okay, that it stopped above the mountain a little bit. Okay guys, I'm sorry, but my cell phone is catching a lot of light, sunlight, and it's heating up like hell. Okay guys, we're almost done. This phenomenon is described as amazing, and we are in agreement with Mr. Jim Drummond, saying that it's almost unconceivable. It's correct that the human technique was recently able to record the light with obturation, ultra rapid machinery using the cell Kerr, Kerr, and the properties of the laser rays, which operate in some microseconds, which mean that in some billion parts to the second, with one of these machinery, shutter by laser by the Bell Laboratories in the magazine Ultra Fast Camera Shutter by Laser. We were able to obtain parts of light with a few millimeters of length, but these small light fragments could not be directly observed, only on a dark background, because the shorter the rays that they won't propagate at less of 300,000 kilometers per second, and given the characteristics of the human eye, we couldn't distinguish the intervals that separate them. Freaking crazy, right? Even though the light seen by Jim Drummond was a curvilineous trajectory then it says, definitely these objects that float in our skies do not stop to they don't stop of surprising us. See you soon, my people. John P. loves you.